Welcome to Cash Call. Listen live as expert sales trainers give actionable feedback on real calls while you learn coaching tips directly from the professionals. Cash Call, everybody. Dale Archdekin Brian Curtis back again in 2024 for the first episode of Cash Call. Aren't you excited? I'm excited, Brian.
Excited. I don't know how you say it. Screw 2023. It's over. And let's have a great 2024. And by the way, I know there's plenty of people who had amazing 2023s and then average, and then there's some people maybe not so much. But yeah, let's just go have a great 2024. I don't know about you, but I'm really focused on all the positive news I'm hearing. And that's hard to find positive news. That's not something I hear a lot. So I've been hearing a lot of it. Interest rates are going to drop 3 to 6 times next year. There's a high demand. I think we saw almost 7% appreciation over 2023. They're expecting another 4 to 6% appreciation in 2024. I'm ready to sell some real estate, and have a great year. So.
Yeah, no kidding. Me too. It's like, as business owners, it's just, we get up and we do it. This is what we do, and we're going to keep doing it. As far as I'm concerned, that's what I do. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep contributing to other people and find ways to improve and hit my goals, right? Because, my goals can't be dependent on the market, and it can't be dependent on the whims of real estate or the inventory or the interest rates or any of that stuff.
Yeah, I love that. We had a big discussion today on our team meeting about this, and this is a great thing for any of those of you who are watching. I want you to go back to 2021, and everyone had a great year in 2021, not everybody, but most people just killed it in 2021 relative to other years. What would you do differently is a great question. And what can you do to ensure, as the market gets better and better in 2024, that you're ahead of it, not behind it? In other words, are you using the right scripting? Are you calling the right people? Are you using the right marketing so that you don't go, holy crap, a whole bunch of houses sold and I wasn't participating in that? Get ahead of this whole thing, because I think there was a lot of people who got caught behind in 2021. And I also said this is, where do you have control? Because control is always a bad word, but it's not for me. I think control is amazing. I don't want to control other people, but I want to control my income. I want to control my day. I want to control those things. And so how do you get that? What are the things that you've got to do so that you have a great 2024? And anyway, I'm excited. Hey, Dale, you're muted.
I was going to say, I got some fresh new branded swag for 2024, so I'm super excited. I don't know if you can see. Got t-shirts too, loving it. Yep. So when I'm not in my office with the big light bulb behind me, I can be here, branded on camera. Well, let's get to it, man. Let's give these people some sales training. So what call do you have for us today?
Yeah, it's a relatively short call, and it really is about, how do I say this, about understanding the basics of what are important in a phone call. I can tell you, I'll give away a little bit. There was probably nothing this agent was going to do to have success on this call, but it doesn't mean there isn't something that we can learn from it. At least that's my perspective. So I'll go ahead and share this. Share sound.
I think that can be really helpful, because there's a lot of times when we get into sales conversation where we're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do here. I don't know how I can fix this. So let's hear it.
Yeah. All right, here we go. I edited the name out at the beginning, so it'll be a little clunky.
Hello, this is Terry.
You hear it?
Hey, Terry, this is how you doing today?
I'm good, thanks.
Good. Did you just do a inquiry on Realtor.com?
I did, yes.
Okay, that's why I'm reaching out. I actually hadn't received any of your personal information or what you were looking at yet, but just calling to see how I'm so sorry for the hot spring.
So I'm just going to pause it there, Dale. I'm going to start with the thing. It's 2024. Here's my very first piece of advice. For the love of God, learn your intro scripts. Because it is literally the first introduction that you can have to somebody. And somebody asked the other day and I'd love to hear your version of this too, is there's a lot of people, this isn't what this call is, but there's a lot of people who are going to be calling through their, let's use just the term ponds, or leads that inquired over the last 12 to 24 months. And if you call them up and go, hey, this is Dale, just checking in, they're going to be like, about what and why and who are you? And because 18 months ago they made an inquiry about something. So I'm going to suggest that that's probably not the best way to go. So I will say this: I wrote a very simple script on lab coats the other day, and I'm sure you use a similar one. Hey, it's Brian Curtis just reaching out, checking in with you to see if you're considering making a move in 2020, 24, or last year you guys were just window shopping. Some version of that. I don't know what you're telling people to do, but I mean, hopefully people are calling their old leads, if you will, from 2023. So I'd love to hear your thoughts,
Yeah.
Dale.
The only thing I would add to that is some sort of context. Like, hey, we spoke early in 2023. I wanted to see if you had any plans to make a move, or if you ended up purchasing, or if you ended up selling, whatever it is, right? If I'm calling buyers, if you ended up purchasing, if I'm calling sellers, if you ended up selling. But I would use some kind of context, because I'm pretty confident that even if you didn't speak to them at some point in 23, you or your automation reached out to them, and it will set up that little bit of mystery in their mind to say, maybe I shouldn't totally crap on you because maybe we did talk.
Right. Yeah, and that's why I'm reaching out to people who have made inquiries in 2023. I love where you added that in. We spoke last April. If you're looking at that's even better. We
Oh,
spoke
yeah.
last April. And how do you know that? Well, you look at your CRM. So
It's right there in the CRM.
So anyway, I just think it's really a powerful opportunity because I don't agree with this, but I also know it's true. I don't change my life on January 1st. Okay. I don't. It's the same as it was a week ago, a month ago, 2 months ago. I don't make massive changes because the calendar changed. I make massive changes for other reasons. But so many people go, yep, I've screwed this whole year up. I'm going to look at things differently now. Okay, great. There's an actual mindset for the next 30 days that you should take advantage of. Don't you agree?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You never have more energy than you do on, say, January 1st. Maybe when you're like going into the fall and you're like, oh my God, I spent too much time over the summer screwing around and I'm not on track for my goals. Usually I'd say beginning of January and like around the beginning of August, September is usually where I see the biggest spikes in activity.
Yeah. So, think about it from the perspective of the client too. You're reaching out to them and saying, hey, you made an inquiry about real estate last year, and it sounds like, you didn't do anything. If they tell you that, great. So is it going to be different this year? Ooh, I mean, now you can't say that in July. You can, but it's not effective. So,
Right. I have a question.
think about
I have
that.
a question for you, Brian. With this call, was this an old realtor inquiry or was it a new realtor inquiry without
It,
info?
it was new. I just got sidetracked and started talking about
New.
that.
Okay. Because
So,
I want to help. I want to give advice on this guy's entry. The
please.
part, the parts that he did weren't bad, but you can do it much more succinctly. So I know that if you come from whatever lead source it is, I'm going to cite the lead source, say there's no info, and ask you a question I want answered, right? So if I call you up, it's going to be ring, ring, Brian.
Ring. Hey, this is Brian.
Hey, Brian, this is Dale Archdekin. Listen, I see that you inquired on realtor.com about a property, but they haven't sent over all the information yet. I wanted to see what property you were interested in, right? Super simple,
Perfect.
very clear. Here's who I am. Here's what I'm doing. Here's what you did. Here's what I want to know.
Yeah, and so let's listen to this again. Listen to the uncertainty in the agent's voice. And I know that's like not something everyone's paying attention to, but uncertainty comes across as not confident. It comes across as I don't know what I'm doing. It comes across as I'm new. So just
It,
listen to the
it,
uncertainty.
it
Good.
also comes across as stranger salesperson,
Good
right?
point.
That's the other people that do that. The only other people who call you without a clue as to whether you're the right person or what they want to ask you are people who are trying to sell you something.
Yeah. So listen to that and note that. And by the way, it's a great thing to listen to for your own phone calls. As you're listening to them, do I sound confident? Would I buy from me? Would I work with me? Would I ask me more questions, or would I hang up on me? It's a really good question. So listen to his voice.
Hello, this is Terry.
Hey, Terry, this is how you doing today?
I'm good, thanks.
Good. Did you just do a inquiry on realtor.com?
I did, yes.
Okay, that's why I'm reaching out. I actually hadn't received any of your personal information or what you were looking at yet, but just calling to see how I'm. So sorry for the. In Hot Springs. Sorry, my radio just reset itself and was on full blast there. But yeah, was there a property you were interested in taking a look at?
So he recovered
Yeah,
there.
no, I just wanted to reach out to the listing agent. You're not the listing agent for
Here we
that
go.
property. It looks like it's Empower Home Team.
Okay. No, I'm with Curtis Realty Group, and our team serves as
Yeah.
like a third party for Realtor.com. But
So before that, when he said, I wanted to reach out to the listing agent, looks like you're not the listing agents, Empower Realty. I would have just asked a question. I wouldn't have said, no, I'm with Curtis. I would have said,
Right.
got it. What did you have questions about the property, or would you like to go see it? That would be my question back to him. I'm not even going to get into the who's who unless you drag me back into it.
Right. Yeah. Because half the time, it's funny. I was taking a class on objection handling, and one of the ways to handle an objection is to completely ignore it.
Yes.
I mean, it is. It's an actual technique. Now, those of you who are listening going, great, I've just got my technique every single time. No, you use it with judgment. But in a situation like this, you ignore it, right?
I learned that a long time ago when I was doing mortgages, actually. And I went to my clients and some bad thing had happened. I went to my clients and I told them the bad thing that had happened. And I go to my manager and told my manager that I told them the bad thing that happened. He said, why the hell did you do that? You didn't need to do that yet, right? We wait to see if the bad thing goes away. We ignore it until we have to deal with it, right? Until it is an absolute. And I was like, oh, okay. Same thing applies to objections. Sometimes you can just keep on going. You know, if the guy said, hey, I wanted to talk to the listing agent, you're not the listing agent, you're this other agent. Well, you haven't stopped the conversation yet. You didn't say we can't talk. I'm just going to move to the next question and see if we can forget about all that.
Right. Because honestly, if you follow the other path, it's a definite no.
Right. Yeah,
The
you're
other
right.
path
I'm not the
is
listing agent. Now I got to argue with you about why you shouldn't talk to the listing agent or why you shouldn't want the thing you think you want that I don't even know you want yet.
yeah. So anyway, we'll see how the rest of it goes, and again, it kind of becomes irrelevant. Although there was opportunities for this agent to practice the things that you and I talk about, he didn't take those opportunities. So that was the first opportunity. Now we'll hear more of the second opportunity.
I'd be happy to. Yeah, I'd be happy to reach out to the list agent for you.
No, I can do it. I own the property, so it's no big deal. I'm not looking to buy it. I just want to reach.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, probably nothing you can help me with. I'll reach out to them directly.
Wait,
I got you. Okay, so you're actually.
he owns the property and he doesn't know who his listing agent is?
He says he does know who it is. He'll just reach out to him directly. So I don't know why this guy. And again, the end result of this phone call, there really wasn't anything we could do, but there's really good examples of what you could have done better anyway. So, and I will say this, every single phone call, no matter if you use the perfect script, the tone, we use everything that Dale and I talk about, sometimes there's an objection you can't overcome. Like, I'm not going to buy my own property.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
I think the value for people listening to this and the value for us listening to it, the educational piece is when that guy said, I was reaching out to the listing agent, you're not the listing agent. You don't really have to get into that monkey knife fight unless he pulls you into it. You could just move on to your next question, right? In which case I suggested, did you have questions about it or would you like to go see it? Right. Let's just see if we can.
Yeah. So, my two takeaways from this phone call, what Dale just said, and then work on your intro scripts. Remember, you only get one chance to make a first impression. You only get one opportunity to not fumble and bumble into that phone call. So even if you don't have a perfect script, go in with confidence, go in like you mean it. And for the love of God, he didn't do this, but for the love of God, don't blame third parties. Like what Dale said was fine. Hey, I haven't gotten the information. Realtor.com will be sending me that soon. That's fine. But don't do this. I've seen it over and over again. Well, Realtor.com, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And I don't know. Guys, they trust Realtor.com. That's why they filled the form out. Don't bash on them because now there's 50-50 chance where they're going to go on that. They're going to go, oh, this guy's full of crap and he's not good at his job. Or, okay, Realtor.com sucks. But it's a toss up. And in one situation, you lose the client.
Yeah. Man, I was going to make another point and then I forgot what it was. Yes. Well, I had a brain fart, man. Anyway,
what do you got for us today, Dale?
All right, so I have a student, one of our students, Matt, we'll leave out his last name. But this is a call from Matt. And so I'm excited to give Matt some feedback that'll help teach everybody. And
Awesome.
this is a situation where it's somebody that registered on the site, not super motivated and kind of resistant to salespeople. And so we'll listen to this.
Nice.
Share sound. Here we go. Okay.
Hello, Sheena. It's Realty. How are you doing?
Good. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. Who's that?
It's Realty. You just registered on my website, taking a look for some homes for sale in Oakville. I just thought I'd give you
Okay,
a call
no, I
to see
was
if you're
just trying
thinking-
to look for something. I'm just having a look. That's it.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what my website's designed for. Are you local to Oakville?
So that's good. So he tried to
I
do
love
his
it.
intro. She cut him off. She said, I'm just looking great. That's what my website's designed for. Excellent. And then he pivots quickly into a question. So let's hear the question he pivots into.
What my website's designed for. Are you local to Oakville?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. What part of town are you in?
Yeah, are you local too? So obviously he has an accent. We ask, do you live in whatever? But he said, are you local to whatever? Great present tense question. One of the 3 safe questions that we teach when somebody says, I'm just looking around. So far, thankfully, our student is nailing it. So let's hear where it goes from here.
I'm at the West Oak side.
Oh, nice. Me too. I'm actually in West Oak Trails. And in terms of
I have a suggestion I want to give. Let me back it up just a little bit.
town are you in?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. What part of town are you in?
What part of town are you in? So here's my suggestion. This went okay. We see the big gap. If you're looking at my screen, there was a gap between him asking what part of town she was in and then her thinking about, do I want to give you this answer? That's literally what happened there, because she was like, I don't want to. What's that, Brian?
I said interesting.
Yeah, she knows what part of town she lives in.
She's aware yet.
She knows where she lives. Here's the thing. He asked her what part of town she was in. She's already resistant to the salesperson, says, I'm just getting started, right? Just looking. He asks, what part of town are you in? Very good technique on his part, but he should have read how resistant she was and not ready she is. And that gap that she gave was, do I want to give this salesperson more information to continue this conversation, or do I want to end it? So here's my only suggestion. Super easy. He says, hey, are you local to the area? She says, yes. Tell her where you live first. Yeah, Brian? Oh, that's fantastic. I'm in Glenside. I've been here for like 6 years. What part of town are you in? Right? Start there. Give first. It'll make it less weird and a little bit like more of a normal human interaction, where she now is kind of obligated to give you her information.
Right. I mean, so think about this. Let's pretend that so Dale and I meet for, the very first time we meet. We don't know each other. I can tell you right now, I'm going to tell Dale I'm from Buffalo, New York. Now, I'm not from Buffalo, New York. I'm from a small town 20 minutes outside of Buffalo, New York. So if Dale says, oh, I grew up in that area, where are you from? He might go, oh, I'm from East Aurora and you're from Orchard Park. And all of a sudden we're having a conversation. That's a regular conversation. He's suggesting we do the exact same thing with this lead. Oh, cool. I live on the west side. Whereabouts do you live?
Yeah.
It's a natural conversation.
Yeah, it also is more comfortable if you tell them where you are first.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah, exactly. Then if you just blindly say, what neighborhood do you live in? Right. And they're like, ooh, strange. Hold on there, strange salesperson.
Yeah.
Not
What's
only-
your address? I'll be at your house this afternoon, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Just give me the last 4 of your social. That's all I need.
So yeah, no, I love that. Give a little bit to give a little, the law of reciprocity will kick in.
Give a little bit first, especially when they're resistant. Because I'm telling you, what went through her mind was, do I really want to continue this conversation with a salesperson?
Yep.
I'm at the West Oak side.
Oh, nice. Me too. I'm actually in West Oak Trails. And in terms of you're just taking a look for now, right? You're just kind of getting a bit of background research. If you don't mind me asking, what prompted you to start looking at homes?
Now, he was clearly saying things to try to think of what to ask next. So then he comes up with a question.
I'm just having a look at the website itself. I have not made up my mind about anything. I'm just doing the research, nothing else.
Yeah.
Now, that's the second time she's saying, I'm just having a look. I'm not doing anything else. My suggestion, what I would do is I would do a get real with her. Okay. I would call it out. I would call out the elephant in the room. I'd be like, Kayla, I understand I'm a totally strange salesperson. I get it. You're not ready to talk to a salesperson. No problem. I'm not here to sell you anything. In fact, I can just help point you in the right direction or get some answers that you're looking for with no obligation. And then I'd roll into my next question. So
Which would be, what would your next question be?
Yeah, so in that case, it would probably be, how long have you been on the west? How long have you lived in the west side? And what do you like about it? Right?
Sure.
That's
So
probably
you're
where I go.
staying present tense, right?
I'm going to stay super present tense because she's very resistant to future tense right now, right? Where do you want to move? Why do you want to move? When do you want to get there? What do you want to buy? She's hyper resistant to that stuff. So I'm just going to stay present and try to have a friendly, neighborhood barbecue conversation with her.
And that's important because I can tell you where I want to go. I want to do exactly what you just said. Hey, by the way, relieve all pressure. In a perfect world, and I know you may not know this yet, but when would you like to move? That's where I want to go, but don't go there because you don't have enough rapport. You don't have enough, so what I'm saying is have patience. Sometimes you have to be patient. And that's really what Dale's talking about. How do I stay in the present tense? How do I get her to go, all right, this guy's not a jerk. He's not trying to screw me over. He's not trying to sell me. So whatever it is, so that I can actually ask good discovery questions. And by the way, what do you like about it is still a great question because it can let you can follow that question up with after she talks. Well, what is it that you don't like about it? Oh, I don't like this or this or this or this. Oh, so when you buy your next house, and I know you don't know when that is yet, what are some specifics that you want to make sure you get this time versus last? I mean, you got to walk her down a path is what I'm saying. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the biggest thing that listeners could take from listening to this call is picking up how resistant she is to this guy. And so that's why we got to go slower. It's like, this is too fast. Let me slow down. Oh, let me slow down a little more, right? So that I can actually stay in this conversation because she's literally convinced that this guy is here to sell her something or to get her to move forward, right? It's painfully obvious when you listen to the way she's talking to him.
Yeah. And I want to say this, and this is beginning of my career, this call wouldn't have lasted this long for me.
No, not at all. I would have gotten hung up on with this call.
Okay. I don't know if I'd have gotten there, but my point is it wouldn't have gotten this far.
I would have gotten hung up on because I would have kept going after when do you want to buy? Where do you want to buy? How much do you want to spend? But yeah, I know you're not ready, but when you do, where do you want to, right? I would have kept hammering on the when do you want, what do you want, and when do you want it, and how much button.
Yeah. And that's why, when you guys are making phone calls, what is your objective of that phone call is an important question to ask yourself. I want to build rapport with somebody who's going to be a client 6 months, 12 months, 18 months from now. Could be a great goal of a call, and it's going to change how you approach it. If the only thing you're looking for is right now business, then you're going to be like Dale and we're going to get hung up on. So, understand. And I always make this joke. One of my best things that I can coach is all the stuff I did wrong. So I can tell you not to do it. And that's not the only thing, but there's some legitimacy to that. So if you're a person who's listening to this call and go, man, I wouldn't have made it this far. Good lesson.
Let's see what happened after this, because we're about ready to wrap up here.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I understand that.
Yeah.
And in terms of currently, do you rent or do you own your own home?
I am on a rent.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah.
And do you like the area?
There we go. That's good.
Yes, I'm liking the area.
Are you looking at staying in kind of the north part of Oakville?
Yes.
Awesome. And in terms of kind of who you kind of looking to make the move with, is it just yourself, or do you have some family members as well?
No, I'm staying with the family.
Oh, nice. So you're looking at this.
This guy's doing a great job with like, oh man, she is tough, like super dry. I feel like she's getting a little warmer, meaning like a little less resistant because he sounds like such a nice guy. You know, in the moment, I don't think that he could have done better, frankly.
He's doing great.
Yeah, he's doing great. Monday morning quarterbacking it. I think that the only thing he could do is try to push in a little bit more rapport, maybe a personal story, maybe tell her what brought him to this area, ask her what originally brought her to this area. You know, and again, this is because we're listening to this, we can come up with this stuff. But
Right.
I think he's doing a great job. My only suggestion is when you find this really dry saltine cracker that you're talking to, you're going to have to pump a little bit of juice into it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think he did a great job. Like I said, yeah, are there more questions he could have asked? But of course, there's always more questions. And by the way, if you're a person who can't think of those questions that Dale just said, write them down and make a list of questions for yourself in case you're in a situation where you're like, I don't know what the hell to ask next. It's you know, the beauty of it is real estate prospecting is an open book test. So use whatever resources you have in front of you. Have a list of questions. I always had a list of questions because I'm human, and sometimes this thing doesn't work. It goes blank. You know, it happens to all of us. Cheat.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I just thought of a new role play practice that we're going to do in my company as a result of this call. So we already do, actually, it's not brand new, but we already do some rapport work, right? Where you have to artificially practice rapport. So in listening to this call, I'm definitely getting some ideas on how we can improve that exercise to work that muscle out so that somebody can switch quickly over to strictly rapport, right? And coming up with the questions that you probably don't actually care about, but you're going to ask them anyway because they're good at rapport building.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was the hardest part for me in getting into real estate. Small talk is not my favorite thing. As a matter of fact, it might be my least favorite thing. And literally, I had to sit down and go, what am I going to say to these people? Because remember this, guys, I used to put people in my car. You'd spend 4 hours with somebody with no break. You had to have some stuff to talk about. So learning those, you know, standard questions, if you will, it can be very, very powerful.
Yeah, you know what? This is some advice that I would give. If you're having trouble coming up with rapport building questions to ask because you actually don't care, you're like me and probably like Brian because we don't care in a lot of cases. And that's okay. We don't have to care about every detail about every person because that's not how we're built. But think about it this way. What do people enjoy telling you about, right? They want to tell you about their dog, their cat, their kids, their vacations, their jobs, their goals, their employment, their neighborhood, their neighbors, their activities, right? Their hobbies. They want to tell you that. So people like telling that stuff about themselves, whether you care to hear about it or not. So if you need some questions, that's where you can find them.
You know, you just kind of inspired me thinking about not Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Like Dale Carnegie tells a story in that book about how basically he goes around at a party, asks questions, says nothing about himself ever, really doesn't say anything outside of asking questions. And he gets all these letters about, because it's the 30s, so people didn't email or call or text, they sent letters. But all these letters about what a great conversationalist he was. He didn't even talk outside of, hey, Dale, what do you do for a living? Oh, blah, 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 blah. Oh, cool. So, you know, just asking questions of curiosity. If I could tell salespeople as a group one thing to learn to be curious.
Yes. And I'm kind of given a shortcut because when you say learn to be curious, it does imply you kind of need to care. Right. So what's the you know the cheater version of that where, hey, don't really care, how can I appear curious? Ask people questions about stuff you know they want to tell you about.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, I think we've what do you think? We're back in the swing for 2024 now.
I'm excited. Dale, like I said, I've not been this excited about real estate in a year and all the stuff that's going to happen in a long time. So it's just, I don't know, it feels positive. I feel like we've got kicked in the gut for the last 18 months. And, I'm just excited that we're moving in the other direction, and mindset is going to be so powerful for 2024. So
Absolutely. All right, man. Good seeing you. So everybody, thanks for joining us. Dale Archdekin, Brian Curtis for Cash Call. We'll be back again next week.
thanks, Dale. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Cash Call today. If you like what you heard, come check us out at smartsalescoaching.com, and we'll be back again next week.